Well, hello everyone listening to this. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to today's webinar, which is called Master Claims Transformation to Secure a Competitive Advantage. There is a longer title, but that one's more succinct, so I'm gonna stick with that one today. My name is Wyn Jenkins. I'm the manager editor of Intelligent Insurer magazine. I'm going to be steering us through today's session. I'm delighted to say that we've got several hundred people signed up to this, and I can see the numbers ticking up already for those tuning in. Hopefully we'll provide you with some great content today. So Intelligent Insurer, as hopefully you know, is the leading publication for digital content, magazines and events for reinsurers, insurers and brokers, and we also do a fair bit on the InsurTech side. We're delighted to be working today with sponsor WNS Global Services, the global business process management company, and we'll hear a little bit more about them shortly. Now, before I introduce our panel today, let me just stress this session is interactive. You can submit questions using the question box on your screen. We will see those and we'll try and make our way through as many as we can during the call. So what we're going to be talking about today is that there's lots of insurers are experiencing a surge in claims at the moment, but some are also struggling to contain rising costs, optimize the productivity of their workforce, and improve the customer experience. So we're going to be talking today about how technology and data can be used to improve those things. And we've got some excellent experts who are on the front line of claims from the likes of Zurich, Hiscox and Achmea, who will help us understand how they do this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to introduce our panel very briefly, and then ask each of them in turn to tell us a little bit more about them and how they sort of intersect and work with this topic at the moment. I'm delighted to say we've got on this call today David Nichols, the Chief Claims Officer at Zurich, Hugo Emanuel Fernandes, the Group Claims Innovation Lead at Hiscox, and Martin Kroos, Head of Claims at Achmea. We've also got Adrian McKnight, Executive Vice President of Transformation and Quality at WNS Global Services, who, as I said, we're delighted are sponsoring this. And have we just lost a couple of people?
Just one. Yeah.
Just one. Adrian, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Sorry about that. It was obviously my end, not yours.
Okay. Well, since you're back, let's start with you then. Can you just tell us a little bit more about WNS and your experience in claims and how you sort of are working with some of the topics we're going to be discussing today?
Yeah, of course, love to. It's great to be sponsoring the event today. It's great that we've got so many people participating. It's been such a huge impact globally on businesses in so many ways, and for us in the claims industry and for us in the global operations business service industry, you know, a major impact. And it's been just fantastic to see the way the industry, as well as the specific areas of claims and insurance have responded so well. So WNS, leading global business operations professional services company, strong focus around how we run operations across major corporates as well as startups and technology companies around a whole range of industries globally, about 7 industries in a number of horizontals like finance and accounting and data and analytics and transformation as examples there as well. And with a really strong focus now on digital and digital transformation. So looking forward to talking about that a bit more today. Personally, I lead the overall digital transformation, quality and training functions across WNS globally. And prior to that, I've spent most of my life in large corporates, most of the time in banks and insurers, and have about 20 years experience in the insurance industry, and have run some major global claims operations personally myself. Feels like a lifetime ago, but some time ago, running claims across several countries. Thanks.
Okay, great, thank you. Martin, perhaps I can come to you next. Can you tell us a bit about your role and some of the things that you're perhaps doing around innovation and claims?
Yes, I'd love to. Thank you. Thank you very much for having us. Like you said, I'm working within Achmea. Achmea is actually the product of several large mergers within the Dutch insurance industry. And for about 10 years ago, we started integrating specifically all our back office processes. So that's been my main focus for the last 10 years or so within the different insurance parts and products that we have within Achmea. For the last 4 years, I've been working within customer to claim, of claim for customers, this business to customer experiences. And we were focusing right now on our telephone claim handling, transformation to specifically digital and automated claim handling. We started out 4 years ago, and we started with almost zero contacts online. And last year we got up to 20% of all claims handled via online. And last year we also changed our transformation approach. Maybe we could talk about that later on. But we divided our transformation part and our day-to-day operating model. We divided those two parts, so that's actually quite a good experience for us, that it improved and sped up our transformation process.
Okay, great. Thanks, Martin. Hugo, perhaps I can come to you next. Can you tell us a bit more about what Group Claims Innovation Lead does at Hiscox and how you sort of work with this topic?
Hi, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for inviting me to be part of the session. So we've been working at the different business units that we have at Hiscox. So regardless of being Europe, UK based or US operations, trying to bring more value and innovation to the value chain and the way that we serve our clients. I joined the company almost 6 years ago, been working in very different roles, started as a business analyst for the European business unit, then moved to the group and joined the claims team. And it has been very pleasant this last couple of years to see how the team has been growing and how we've been finding new ways to serve our clients in our challenging times that we're living. Prior to this, I was a Deloitte consultant for a couple of years and been developing strategic and operational projects in both Portugal and other Portuguese-speaking countries.
Okay, great. Thanks, Hugo. And finally, David, coming to you, can you tell us a bit about your experience and career in claims and how you're innovating now?
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Win, and good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here. So I'm the UK Chief Claims Officer for our Zurich business, and I have been since 2017. And since that time, we've been on a journey within our claims function, looking at both the operating model and some of the technologies that are available to transform the way we can deliver services to our customers. And fundamentally, it's been looking about claim type, whether they're more complex or more simple claims, and providing choice to customers through the deployment and use of digital capabilities, using data, but fundamentally trying to provide more choice to our customers, recognizing that the claim moment is a moment of truth for customers that are paid as a premium. So it has been a very interesting journey, and we've been exploring lots in the data and the digital world.
Okay, great. Thanks. So David, I mean, maybe sticking with you, I think the first thing that we should probably cover is the impact of COVID-19. It's obviously, presented challenges of all sorts for all industries and all of us personally. Speaking as sort of Chief Claims Officer, what's it meant for Zurich? How have you adapted to that? And, perhaps you can talk us through some of the challenges and how you've overcome them.
Yeah, and actually, I would say, number one, it has been quite an easy transition for us to support the local lockdown requirements. Prior to the COVID disaster that we're living through, we had developed a lot of our people proposition to provide flex working options, recognizing that it's a key requirement to attract and retain talent, to be able to provide an opportunity for people to work remotely if they choose to, different times of the day, something that brings greater flexibility to the people proposition. And that meant we were already configured for home working. And prior to lockdown, at any given day, I had up to 40% of the claims workforce working flexibly, which means anywhere other than their normal office. So in responding to lockdown, it was literally a flick of a switch and everyone was just delivering what they needed to do from home. Now that sounds easy, and I don't take away from the fact that actually, for individuals, that also means them having to bring a lot of resilience into the situation, because it is very different to spend every day working from home. But the operating model did support, which was brilliant news, and we've been able to be there for our customers, which I'm really proud about. I think the other thing that I would recognise in response to COVID-19 is in working from home, you naturally look at more digital opportunities, and you look at more ways of being able to reach your customers. I've continued to see both our partners and internally developing digital solutions that have allowed us to respond to the solution, whether that be remote access to claims, remote inspections, to damaged vehicles. We've seen a lot of good quality digital capability come on stream to support the position that we find ourselves in.
Okay, and David, just a sort of additional question there. I mean, I can understand you were set up for this already, and it's been relatively seamless. But I can imagine that you may sort of think that would be a short-term thing at some point. If with the lockdown sort of going on, and there remains uncertainty about when any company can get their staff back to offices kind of en masse, does that sort of present different challenges for you then?
It does. And I think fundamentally the challenge that we all need to be alive to is the sense of community that you don't get when you haven't got your teams in the office.
Exactly.
Impact on mental health and well-being, and that's something we're really switched on to, because actually it is a very different working environment, and you have to monitor that. You have to be there to support people through that.
Okay, Martin, I can see
Win. Can I ask a question to David, because he said something very interesting as far as I'm concerned. You just said, David, that at Zurich you're trying to get your customers to submit claims online, and that's actually our biggest challenge, to get our customers submit online instead of calling us, because most of our Dutch customers, at least, they just want to call and then submit their claims, and then they think it's all handled, instead of going online and have to type all your complete claim. How do you guys do that at Zurich? Sorry about that, Win, but I'm just curious.
Go ahead.
I think it's not something that we force customers to do. We offer it as a choice, recognizing that a range of different media support is attractive to a range of different customer types. And from a standing start, I would say we get anything up to 30-35% of our claims notified online now.
Okay,
and
that's good.
Customer voice.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Sorry, Win, you wanted to ask a question to me. Sorry about that.
Well, Martin, I was hoping you could tell us about how you guys have coped with COVID, what it's meant for your claims operation, and I suppose, as David said, has it also sort of enabled some innovation in some ways as well?
Well, actually, it's quite much like David just said about how things went at Zurich. For us, it was start 15th of March. The complete department divided into 3 locations within the Netherlands. They all went completely from working at the offices to working at home, and we didn't have any problem with that. Specifically, it even got better. The performance of our IT systems at home are actually better than working at the offices together. So that was actually quite good. And of course, just like David said, there is definitely a challenge for our staff working on their own at home. The sense of belonging together within the company and handling claims for all of our customers. Suddenly you're all alone doing that with a telephone instead of with all your colleagues around you. So that's actually quite different. And we tend to see also a little bit of mental health issues in a specific part of our staff. So that gets a lot of attention from us. Actually, the biggest difference for us was the claims we got submitted from our customers who couldn't travel anymore, specifically for holidays. So cancellation of holiday, those claims, we had to attend a lot of them, and we still do. So that was actually quite a big difference. And the nice thing about that, just because of the question I asked earlier to David, because we had so much telephone calls about COVID. We couldn't handle them all via telephone, so the queues got bigger, and we actually improved our online process. So we almost have the same percentage of claim handling in this period as David has. We are up to 37% of all our claims, and that's about 1 million claims each year, are now handled online. So actually, never waste a good crisis, I say. And in this case, use the crisis to go more online and improve your digital customer journey.
Okay, great, thanks. Perhaps coming to you next, Hugo. How has Hiscox kind of navigated the COVID-19 in terms of its claims, and like some of the others, has it sort of presented opportunities for you as well?
Okay, thank you for the question. I just think so. I'm going to pick up something that David said on the flexible schedules that we have. We don't also have it at Hiscox. What this pandemics and COVID-19 brought to us was quite of a different setup, where we're not just saying that we moved our operations from office to home, but we brought our family with us at home, and that made a huge difference from this flexible working schemes that we have. So suddenly we had our kids at home, we had to share sometimes a dining table while working with other parts of the family, and that bring a big challenge on how we cope with the resilience versus the flexibility of being available to attend that meeting, to be there at that time where we have, for example, small kids that needed our attention. So there was a big work done on that to make sure that we could keep our tight operations and our value chain working as usual as possible, as we would like to say. So we have been seeing that the awareness, especially the awareness for digital and simplicity, I think it grew a lot on the market from our clients and internally too, on how to make our operations much simpler and touchless, reduce the touch points, reduce the contacts that we have with each other to make it faster, knowing those constraints. One of the things that I think it worked really well was really the support that we got from the IT when we moved from office to home, and that was a really big component of that change. For example, new risks arise from that, which is normal when we went from a more controlled environment to home environment. For example, cybersecurity risks, and everyone got their training on those, how to prepare for that. We spent much more time video conferencing with each other. I think we replaced those small 5 minutes coffees with 15 minutes chats or a VC, and that also impacted the way that we worked together. Mental health has become a priority, of course, and the second is how to keep our organization together and how to keep the people together. Because when working in large offices, we normally see people from other departments that we are not getting in touch so often while working from home, and it was important to keep that and keep the company together and the organization together.
And as the innovation lead, would you say that the COVID situation has kind of accelerated some of the things that you wanted to achieve?
It did for sure. It did for sure, and not just because the way that organizations and insurers thought about innovation, but also the way that customers started to be more prone to that innovation and change their own habits. When we think about the market, so we moved from shopping to online shopping in a couple of weeks. That was a huge boost. So when that happens, we just surf the same wave as an insurer, where we know that our customers will go more online to search how to make a claim, how to get in touch with us, looking for other sources of communication, and we just there, and we just need to quickly adapt to pick up with that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, Adrian, come to you next. I mean, I guess you might be able to give us a bit more of an overview. You probably see more insurers of the sort of ways they've adapted, some of the challenges they may have sort of faced, and how they've overcome them.
Yeah, I was thinking the scale with we've got almost 20,000 staff working across the insurance industry, across multiple countries, servicing multiple company customers. So that scale of quickly changing to be able to deliver a virtual work from home operating model was what we would have said, and I think what most people would have said was unachievable in the time of in that amount of time. I think for me, what it really drove home was the necessity of quickly moving to a different model. And if you work in insurance, you're used to major weather events and catastrophes and being able to respond to those because that's part of the job and the industry you're in. But to do that at scale with the company's operations, and particularly to do that in a way where you're then working with the IT teams, the facility teams, the risk teams, the transport teams and the operations teams, and with the customers that you're servicing onshore, so the customer company, in a very short space of time, was just an amazing experience and amazingly successful, well executed operation. And of course, that takes both sides. It takes WNS in its ability to be able to quickly transform its operations in being able to operate that way from work from home and virtually with good security, good risk management, and good levels of performance across connectivity and systems, as well as the customer company onshore working with that model rapidly, which was a significant shift as well to enable that to occur. So, it was a great experience. And then what we saw, if we look across all our customers, is a strong shift towards digital, accelerated the whole digital focus and emphasis. We saw end customers, claimants and other insurance customers trying to use digital a lot more. And we saw a higher degree of empathy for our staff that are dealing in a voice sense with the end customer. So we were seeing higher levels of customer satisfaction from their interactions with our teams. And we put that down to, it was sort of like the whole world was in COVID and we were all feeling empathetic towards each other rather than feeling, demanding, I'm not getting what I want. I think there was just a greater degree of empathy both ways. And for one particular customer where I got some metrics out, actually 20% of customers that ended up coming through to the voice channels, one of the first comments they said is, I tried to get serviced online, self-service, and I couldn't do it. And that's how come I'm calling you. You wouldn't get that in the normal course of events. Yeah. So 20% of customers had really tried their hardest to try and get digital service, and obviously, depending upon the company, there's different levels of that different levels of maturity or sophistication and couldn't. So then finally reverted to voice and the call center. So all of those are the sort of changes that we saw.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Adrian. Just to remind everybody watching this that you can ask questions. Just go to the question mark thing and type in what you want to ask. Apologies if there's flashing behind me as well. If that's bugging anybody watching, it seems to have stopped now. But I think I need to change the light bulb after this session. So we sort of covered the some of the short-term challenges of COVID and some of the perhaps acceleration of change that may have enabled. But at the core of today's session, we need to be looking at how I guess insurers are moving from some of their sort of legacy systems in terms of technology and towards or using that to move towards automation and using different types of data in a very seamless way. Adrian, I mean, perhaps starting with you again, could you just give us perhaps a bit of an overview of the sort of journey that insurers have kind of been on in the last couple of years, perhaps how you've helped some of them?
Yeah, that's been a big chunk of my last decade, dealing with major insurers and legacy systems and lots of tools and platforms and data marts before we started to move towards data lakes. So it's a major challenge, and certainly that approach of simplification, standardization, and digitization, I think is, it's a well-worn sort of simple way of describing that path. So typically, most large insurers have multiple different, at least versions, perhaps even multiple different claim systems. And being able to actually simplify those and standardize them, along with the processes and the operations that support them at the back end, is absolutely critical in being able to make a really transformational shift in how the company operates. The quality of the data improves, the seamlessness of processes and the efficiency, the ability to reduce cost base because you've simplified it and consolidated your systems opens up a whole range of new opportunities. So that's been really critical in what I've seen. And of course, in more recent times, with what I'm seeing as we work with a range of insurers, because the digital solutions have improved so dramatically, there is now a whole range of different options around being able to look at platform layers that can avoid the need necessarily from a whole range of legacy system consolidation and can start to give the same sort of benefits through those offerings and solutions now, which opens up a whole world of different thinking about legacy and what it means to actually improve the overall digital environment between systems, data, analytics, and how processes are running through it and automation, to actually start to put a layer on top that provides a whole new level of ability to drive benefits much quicker. So that's some of the things I've seen in the past, some of the things that are quickly maturing now that are taking the claims area forward.
Okay, great, thanks. Martin, you gave us a little bit of a taster earlier about how Achmea has sort of transformed its claims operation in recent years. Can you tell us a bit more about that, maybe?
Yeah, I can. It's actually quite nice hearing David and Adrian talking about their conclusions about what we should focus on. It's the same, actually exactly the same as we are doing. So that's kind of reassuring. We're at the right track. We used to, our first focus was integrating into one big back office process/system. And we've been doing that between 2010 and 2015. And now we do have this one system. And actually right now, it's 5 years later. Later on, we have the same conclusion as Adrian just said. Right now, you actually need a layer on top of all the information you have so that you can communicate with all the different platforms. We have the same strategy as Adrian just said. The difference for us, the last 4 years, we've been focusing on an integrated way of working. So improve your performance on telephone and at the same time improving your IT and your online solutions for your customer. But actually, our biggest problem there was that most of the time, your attention gets drawn to the performance from day to day. If there's something wrong in that performance, you tend to focus on that, and you tend to focus on improving your IT solutions a little less. So since 2019, we have two departments within our company, within the particular base that I'm working in. One of them being the day-to-day performance of the contact center, so telephone and online claiming, that's already been implemented. And there's this other department that we call data and digital, and they're responsible for improving the customer journey based on the data we have in that customer journey, and improving our online and automated solutions for them. So actually our vision was divide those two and let them work together to improve the telephone performance and the IT performance as well.
Okay, great. Thanks, Martin. Hugo, maybe coming to you next. Can you tell us a little bit more about the journey you guys have been on?
Yes, for sure. So the journey is very similar to what we've been discussing about standardization and simplicity of the processes. Not knowing that we're gonna making sure that we keep it human for our teams and for our customers, making sure that the process is not as robotic as we could think of. So making sure that it connects with people and still they feel that they are valued and they're being taken into consideration at all the steps, that they're just not. One of the things that we need to make sure that we avoid is people thinking that they are talking with machines, which is not true. And we don't want to go to that route as part of an insurance and not even as part of a claims experience. So that's not happening, and we need to make sure that we don't fall in that trap. That has been a lot of work, and I think one of the things that will be experimental for this will be how do we manage our data. All the insurance organizations suffer from one issue: we don't use our data to maximum possibilities we have. So there was a study launched last year that said that more than 50% of the organizations in the world, not specific in insurance, don't use data as an asset on their operations, and that is something that we're going to start working on, and we have all, even as an industry, start to work on together on how to get it better. And that's, I'm saying this because there are two things. One is how to use better our data. Second one is how we connect the data, knowing that correlation and causation are completely different things. So we need to understand what is the cause of the data. And the third thing, which is very important on claims and the insurance sector, is the new types of data that are entering the market, where we're going to talk about wearables, where we're going to talk about telematics. And a lot of that will change the way that we handle claims. They will change the experience our customers will have with claims, and how we are more close to the market and more close to people. So we can move from a reactive to a more proactive claims approach, where we can also help our customers to prevent claims, and that will be made if we digitalize, if we kept our operations as simple as possible to be quickly adapt and respond to these challenges.
Okay, thank you. David, I come to you, and I guess what I'm hearing is the journey of transformation on claims is very much a journey and not a destination. But where's Zurich on that, and where have you sort of been on that journey, I guess?
Yeah, and I think you sum it up well, Wyn. And I would observe that historically, transformation programs have actually started with the legacy applications, done what they needed to, and then worked out to provide something that might add value to both your teams and your customers in the life cycle. And I think with the availability of technology now, you can start at the other end. And you can start the transformation journey from a customer lens and work back into your organization. And I think that's by effectively utilizing digital journey aspects. It's about joining it up with automation, using data and AI at appropriate decision points, and working with your partners, because actually enriching data using every facet of support that you have in delivering a claims journey, you can find some really interesting innovation. And for me, it's been a real pleasure to be able to start at the customer end and then work back into the organization, because the technology, there's such an abundance of it now available that it is really easy to just give it a go, try certain parts of your journey, not make long-term legacy application decisions, and use some of the available technology to engineer it into your legacy in an appropriate way. So I think the speed of being able to respond is now much quicker. And we've seen that because of how insurers have responded to COVID and the need to push out more digital capability. And I think it does allow us to continue to re-engineer that journey from a customer perspective and in a fast way.
Okay, great, thanks. It's good to see some questions starting to come in, so please continue to send them. I'll probably come back to some of them as we move through the discussion. The next thing I just wanted to sort of move on to is we've talked about how we've dealt with COVID and the sort of journey you've been on in sort of the transformation of claims departments. But of course, central to that is getting the right people and the right types of talent, or upskilling people to do the job in the right way, which I would imagine is a journey in itself. I mean, David, maybe sticking with you for a moment, where's Zurich been on that? How are you sort of succeeding in getting the right people in the right roles with the right skills?
So we have a really strong focus on what we call sustainability of our workforce, and that's a recognition that with all the transformation activity that's underway, roles are likely to change in the future. And it's incumbent upon us to ensure that our talent are ready and able to respond to what roles might look like in the future. Specifically, within our UK claims function, we've got 2 academies that we've launched. One is our Data Academy, recognising increasingly claims handling capabilities will require much more data manipulation, much more data understanding, and that will be an increased facet of settling and administering claims. So that's been one. We've been through our first academy, and we're just launching our second one on the data space. And then a new academy that's just launched, which is for our claims handlers, is the Automation Academy. And again, it's recognizing that so much more of our claims journey in the future is going to be digital, it's going to be automated, it's going to be what customers demand. And it's equipping our claims handlers through the use of the academy to be able to perform claims activities that will add to that journey and allow us to continue to look at how we can automate certain aspects of our journey and how we can digitize certain aspects of our journey. And that for me is fundamental. So it's reskilling of existing talent. I think in addition, we've been a big sponsor of the apprenticeship program because it has been fantastic to bring people early in careers in and invest in their skills and their development. And we've had some major success in that particular space.
Okay, great. To sort of mix it up a bit then in terms of order, let's maybe come back to Adrian. Again, you've got a very interesting global perspective on this. How are your clients and other insurers you see in dealing with this question of talent and upskilling claims executives?
Yeah, it's definitely a changing talent profile. You know, it's a changing need for the staff across a whole range of functions, claims being a critical one. We've done exactly what David's described. We've started a number of academies because we've got to work with the people we have and build their skills, build their capability, and take them on the journey. And that journey of change inevitably leads us to a position where we're building the workforce for the future as we're doing that today, which is really critical to us. I guess I think of it around the what and the how. You know, when we think about the what people do, increasingly it's going to be augmented by digital functions, digital tools, data and analytics that provide next best action for customers, provide the ability to look at things like claims liability as a decision-making tool that gives that as a prompt to the claims officer, the lodgement officer, rather than them needing to spend a lot of time thinking about it, which gives them then the space to better relate to the customer. You know, they can actually focus on the customer and understanding the customer better and the customer's needs. And if it's a time of stress, which often it is for claimants, then it's a time when they can provide that empathy and support whilst getting that augmentation of the digital tools. And then when we think about the how they do that, increasingly, I think what we're seeing is a shift towards, and what we're aiming to build is people that have an agile mindset, agile approaches to how they think and operate. So they're thinking about continuous learning. They're thinking about processes that are continuously being iterated to get better. And they're in that mindset of being nimble and agile in the way that they think and operate, identifying opportunities to improve the customer experience or to improve the process. And all those things, I think, lead to us in a position, a strong position where the digital aspects are really complementary to the people aspects, and we end up in a pretty good space in how we're operating.
Okay, cool. I can see you nodding there, Martin, for a moment. Can you just give us a sense of how you guys have dealt with the talent challenge?
I'm gonna do, if you're okay with that, three answers. I'm gonna try to integrate a few of the questions as well in my answering. At first, it's just like David and Adrian said, the work is definitely gonna change. If you look at my department, we handle about 2 million contacts, telephone contacts, 1.5 million being non-call, for like I said earlier, about 1 million claims. And we think that in about 2 to 3 years, almost half of all those contacts and almost half of all those claims are going to be handled automated. So we are actually not really focusing on AI handling, but we are focusing on a good script in the online claim handling. So if you ask the right questions online to your customer, then the correct information is going to be integrated into the system, and the system can make its decision itself. So half of the work we think will of my department will go onto online and automated, and that's quite an impact on our staff. And we see a few things evolving. The first thing is quickly handling differences in claims coming in. So, for example, when there's a crisis, there's much more claims coming in. Are you going to handle those via telephone or online? So you have to have a flexible workforce. That's the first thing. And that flexible workforce should be capable of handling or helping actually our customers, keeping that online track, just like Adrian said already. If a customer is already in this online path, he should stay there, and we should help him to go on that online path. So that's actually a change, I think, for my staff. The third thing is we expect much more complex claims from the back offices behind my department coming into us. So we're going to be integrating our complex claim handling and our high emotion impact claims. We're going to handle personally via telephone. So that's the third thing. And the fourth question we are going to ask our staff is, if you handling a claim via telephone, try to think of a way to digitalize that. So come up with solutions so to improve our handling of the claim, specifically via automation. So that's actually what we are preparing our staff for. Integrated into, I already said just earlier, the other department, data and digital, who is constantly improving via automation our customer journey.
Okay, great. Thanks, Martin. Hugo, we've heard from you yet on talent. Could you tell us a bit about how Zurich, how Hiscox has sort of got the right people in the right roles, and how you're sort of working with that?
Sure. We've been working always to have the best people in to handle our claims, our very complex claims. And what we've been doing in the last years, which is just building joint teams to work with a very high technical team, with a very good expertise, with the technical side on the IT and the technology. So we've been able to successfully build those teams with those two types of competences in, and that helped us a lot to going through all these journeys. That has been the way that we've been working together in the different departments of the company, and it became quite of a success. Today we have people that has a very technical role that decided to move to a more IT innovation driven. The other way around also happened, which is very interesting to see. And the way that we've built these teams and this collaboration within the organization is quite key to keep working and to keep successfully launching the innovation and the digital journeys that we were able to. I think it will be the way to go in the future. And also, which is important, is that people is becoming more and more aware of the needs of being tech savvy, not tech experts, but tech savvy. And that makes very, very easy for us to work together and then complement some teaching on skills that they don't have, and also learning with them on skills that we don't have. And that's the way to keep up and keep building these innovation features for our clients.
Okay, thanks, Hugo. So we've just got about 15 minutes to go. The sort of next broad theme we were going to move on to is, I guess, asking each of you, how you see the sort of future of claims departments now, as per being sort of transformed by technology. But I'm wondering if we can sort of integrate some of the questions we've had into as we sort of discuss that. A lot of them seem to be around the use of automation and artificial intelligence. I guess there's probably a bit of a desire for any specific examples anyone can give. David, maybe starting with you. I mean, can you give us a sense of the trajectory of claims departments, where you think technology will take things, and also if you can sort of answer any of those questions, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure, Wim. So it feels to me that we're on a digital journey, and we're going to continue that. We've done first notification of loss, and it's there as a choice the customer can make at the point of phoning up or going online to notify us of a claim that they need to submit. increasingly, we're exploring the use of digital capability during the customer's claim journey as well. So we've got WhatsApp channels live. It means that you can get to your customer quickly. You can send them links to the forms they need or information. The use of videos to explain what will happen next in their claim journey, depending on the claim type that they've submitted. So I see digital capability developing far more to transform the journey customer experiences and joining up all facets of the claims activity. And ultimately, I see it being a straight through journey for a percentage of the claims that are submitted. And our ambition would be that we see some of that go live later this year within our UK claims teams. Because actually you can get there right now. I think to give some examples of where we've seen AI work in a really constructive way, it would be tools that some of our partners have shared with us, such as total loss profiling capability, where the AI is completely refreshed continuously with parts, and therefore you can come up with your assessment of what a total loss might be in a vehicle scenario, taking historically a process that may have spanned several weeks down to hours, days as a decision point. So that would be one example that I've seen in the AI space. The other example would be, again, another partner solution where you can assess liability in a more effective way in the motor journey by profiling the loss details, using Road Traffic Act information to be able to engage your customer in a discussion around liability. A motor claim is quite a passionate thing, and quite often somebody gets really embedded in a "it was not my fault" type of discussion. Whereas actually using data and analytics and capabilities around ingesting Road Traffic Act information, you can say, actually, it really was your fault based on the way that all works on the road. So they're just a couple of small examples of where I think it really is changing the way we engage with our customers.
Okay, great.
I think our biggest challenge is trust, Win. Trust
Yeah.
of our customers using online solutions, and that the algorithm behind our solutions is the right algorithms. Actually, the last thing David said, I think, customers will not tend to do a fraudulent claim if they know that we can see, because of our algorithms, that we can see what actually happened. So using the software we are using to our customers, but also our customers using our software to us, that everything is about trust, I think.
Okay. And Martin, are you able to sort of give any specific examples of how you've used automation or artificial intelligence or anything?
Yeah, we actually had a nice, well, it's not so good an example for me because it took a long time to get this far up. But one of the first things I started with in 2016 was an automated solution for our customers when they have a little scratch in their windscreen. Normally they would call my department, and my department would make a call to this windscreen repair shop. So there was a claim handler only making an appointment for our customers to repair that scratch. And we had this online solution. When our customer would call us, we would actually tell him that he could just type 1, and then he immediately would be transferred to this repair shop. And we thought this is a marvelous solution, so everyone's going to use this. And we started out with only 50% of all claims, and mind you, it's about 4,000 claims each month. Half of them only went transferred automated to our repair shop, and the other half just kept on calling. And they kept on calling us because they wanted to be assured actually by us, that the claim was assured, that they would be that would be a damage, the damage that they had would be handled and with no cost to them. That's what I meant about trust. And I saw one of the questions of one of the listeners. How do you get people to go more online? Well, again, I think it's about trust. I think you have constantly and continuously improve with small steps your customer journey. And for example, when we analyzed our data, we came to the conclusion that our customers wanted to be assured that they were insured when they called for this scratch in the windscreen. So when they called us, we put up in our IVR, our automated voice response, we put up a text telling our customers that they would be insured and that they can transfer this call immediately. So it's just that handle it with small steps and improve it each time, make it better. I think that's one of the main parts of automation and digitalization.
Okay, great, thanks. Adrian, I can see you nodding there. Do you want to give us a sense of how you see the claims departments developing now, and any of those questions you want to get your teeth into?
Yep. So I guess just quickly, the things that come to my mind is definitely the customer focus. Increasingly, I think digital puts the customer first. So the customer first increasingly as the area of focus. End-to-end hyper automation. I mean, we've got a whole range of technology, data and analytics and automation solutions today that are rapidly maturing to that position of being able to think about end-to-end activities and how you drive hyper automation. In doing that, they'll be far more business driven. They'll be low code, no code. So hyper automation doesn't mean more programming, more system integration. It actually means putting business object driven activities in the hands of the domain owners in the claims business. And then the last one is platform, because that platform business model that we see so successfully across so many other industries is definitely coming for the claims industry. And specifically, I thought I'd just mention one great solution, leading edge digital solution around customer service, because we've spoken quite a bit about that we're currently implementing, that measures customer intent in real time and gives a pop-up to the lodgement officer or the claims management officer that is responding in real time to the emotions as well as the communication, the voice of the customer, to give prompts around what the next action should be to respond to and meet that customer's needs. So really getting the ability to augment human decision making and human actions with quite mature artificial intelligence that's making the human's service to another human far better through that mechanism. So as a real world example, I think that one's really exciting and quite leading edge.
Yeah. And just out of curiosity, Adrian, I mean, there is a lot of questions about artificial intelligence, and there kind of always is on these things. But do you think that the way the industry uses that is kind of just at the start of sort of realizing its full potential?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, I think our levels of confidence and trust in artificial intelligence and machine learning is absolutely critical. And of course, we have regulators. So the regulators have a whole range of issues about how decisions are made, how we service our customers, and how we can demonstrate the integrity, the consistency, and the quality of those things, which also is a critical aspect of how machine learning and artificial intelligence develops. So, but definitely this is a start of something that, if you turn the clock forward 5 years, is far more mature, far more sophisticated, and in a different business model sense again, that is hard for us to really get our heads around. I think 5 years out, when you think about the rate of progress now, and you see the sort of developments that are happening across the industry, it's not really possible to predict it 5 years out. I think 3 years is the stretch zone now. 5 years is actually, it's just impossible to predict.
Yeah, okay.
Arwin, I think it's I earlier said it's about trust. I think we could compare it to soccer, getting used to the virtual referee. It took us quite some time starting with it, and now we're actually improving it each season. It's something like that, starting slow but starting. and then one step ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
And not expecting too much from the start point. Use the start point as a journey, learn more and develop more.
Yeah, start with half.
Yeah. And Hugo, we've not heard from you for a bit. So, I mean, you're the one, I guess, specifically looking at innovation within claims. I mean, where do you see sort of things developing over the next few years? And actually, again, looking at all the questions, if you're able to sort of give any specifics around automation and specifically artificial intelligence, I think the audience will be interested in that as well.
Yeah, for sure. And specifically on artificial intelligence. And we had already a couple of examples on how we're using it. We're also using very advanced models to help us, especially at the claims intake. For example, we have launched this year a very interesting portal for the UK that takes clients to different journeys. Last year, I was speaking with a colleague while doing some research and purpose outside of Hiscox academics. And I was talking, because I think this part is important on the AI side, about a person that was doing a postdoc research on artificial intelligence here back in Portugal. And he was saying that currently artificial intelligence, it's a lot intelligent, but not that smart artificial. So this for saying that it is a path, it is a route that we need to work with the organizations to get into that final state. The decisions don't pop up automatically. So we need to understand what triggers the decisions, what is behind the decisions, what are the data points, what are the logic behind it. And that's how the way that we can build those algorithms that in 5 years, like we were saying, are able to predict a decision or help us speed up a decision quite immediately. So, but it's important to understand that there's a journey, and for the panel, because there's a lot of questions on automation, on driven solutions. Start by the basics, which is trying to prepare those intelligent but not automated, or automated but not intelligent, and help out throughout that process, because it doesn't come as a package of saying, here you go, here you open a box and there's an automated, intelligent automated solution. It is a path that organizations need to work with. I see that to be critical in the future. Our customers are getting used to it in every other platforms that they're using on their daily basis, and they will start demanding more of that with our insurers. So I'm seeing that as a very interesting trend. I don't think digital transformation will safeguard us for market disruption, because that will happen anyway. We just get us much more prepared for events like happened this year that we cannot predict. Will make us more flexible and more resilient to the changes that are happening with our customers, with the markets we're working with, or with even the societies that we are part of.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Great. So I'm told we've got a hard stop after an hour. I don't know if we cut off at that point, but I will try and wrap things up in the next couple of minutes. So I'm just going to whiz through you all, and perhaps in just a couple of sentences or less than 30 seconds, if you can, just give us any final thoughts, any questions you want to answer, and anything you think about the future of claims, I guess. David, can we start with you?
Yeah, I noticed that there was a question that's come through around what COVID will have taught us around working from home, and perhaps our people's desire to work from home in the future. We have been surveying our claims teams to understand the appetite now that they've had an extended experience of working from home. And it was interesting, 68% of my UK claims team said that they would like to work from home 3 days or more a week after this experience. And I think that's really interesting, because actually what it's done is it's perhaps doubters of working flexibly or in different environments. It's forced them to look at it, and maybe it's created a different expectation. So, you know, alongside the digital journey that we find ourselves on in claims, I can fully expect us looking at supporting different people propositions, which is also very exciting.
Okay, thanks,
we
David.
have the same experience in the Netherlands, exactly the same.
Yep. Any final thoughts from you, Martin, before I shut us off?
Yeah, there's just one thing we haven't been talking about. I think it's my biggest challenge within our company. It's a big Dutch company, and big company means that there's a lot of responsibilities shared within my process. There are different departments. They have responsibility within my claim handling customer journey. And the biggest challenge for improving and speeding up is having an integrated vision and working together on that vision with the same priorities. I think that's about speeding up your digitalization and automation. That's the most important part, I think.
Okay, thank you. Hugo, any final thoughts from you? And then Adrian, hopefully we'll have the final word.
Yeah, for sure. Looking here at the questions, there is a question on how we can move our clients from phone email to online claims. I would say that is just making as simple as possible and hassle-free for them. That is really critical to get that adoption of the online journeys.
Okay, great.
Adrian.
Thanks for sponsoring this today, by the way. Hopefully everybody watching found it really informative. But Adrian, what would be your sort of sum up thoughts after today's discussion?
I'll keep it really simple. I think we're in a traditional industry that could become very non-traditional very quickly if we've got a mindset change about being able to do that. And I think, that's a great space to be in. And it'd be great to see the insurance industry, and particularly claims, lead the space about new ways of servicing the customer, being customer focused, and driving digital solutions.
Okay, great, thank you. Well, thanks you all for participating today. Hopefully everybody watching found that really informative and interesting. If you didn't catch it all or perhaps missed the start or something, you can get this on demand. Yeah, keep an eye out for our sort of emails on future sessions. So thank you all today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.